got a text from somebody said exactly, it's not 24-hour coverage. And what he's referring to is when the shooters ain't white, it ain't wall-to-wall coverage. They try to make it go away as quick as they can. I mean, I think one of the most disgusting examples of that is the Waukesha massacre, the Christmas parade in Wisconsin. The black dude that ran over all the people and killed all those people and said he wanted to kill some white people. Boy, that went away so quick. That went away so quick. You know, because they were determined to tell us Kyle Rittenhouse, you know, who was defending himself and climate change, the pedo that was chasing after him. I mean, that's the irony of that story. It's still, if you ask most inner city black folks about who Kyle Rittenhouse is, they will tell you that he killed a couple of Black Lives Matter supporters that were black, because that's what they do. The media would never tell you, but we're going back into my greatest hits here. The media would never tell you that they were white and one had been arrested for domestic violence, the other had been arrested and was an actual pedophile. But anyway, you have a literal pedophile who had been arrested for doing bad things to kids, chasing a kid, trying to do bad things to him. I mean, who knows what he would have done to Kyle if he had caught him? Would he have violated him? Probably. I mean, his history says yes. I mean, Kyle was defending himself from a pedophile. I mean, I remember a time in America, in my dad's America, when regardless of your political affiliations or how much Trump derangement syndrome you may have had or not, we could all agree that pedophiles deserve to die. That you know what, like, political affiliation don't matter. But now, if you're a pedo, but you're also screaming Black Lives Matter, that washes away all your sins. This is why I go as hard as I go. Because y'all will never be able to rationalize that for me. You'll never be able to tell me, yeah, Clay, but if he supports Black lives, that's more important than anything. Anything. No, it's not. It ain't. It just ain't. I ain't going to pretend it is. I'm not going to play your little games. None of that. I love my black folks out there that ain't screaming this nonsense. But that's what the media does. They have you think that Kyle Rittenhouse went there and massacred 3 black men, not 3 Black Lives Matter supporting pedophiles. Big difference there. And shame on the media for doing what they did to Rittenhouse. But, you know, until this, I got some very bad breaking news. I'm going to get to this in just a second. Until this era that we're living through, where everything has to be seen through the lens of a narrative, and until we can sit there and acknowledge what the problem is with guns in America, okay, this is the part most white radio hosts won't say out loud. So they tiptoe and they dance around it. And they do Olympic ice skating trick-worthy tricks, avoiding it. It's just saying what I'm about to tell you, and so I just said it. The problem in America is with guns is younger black youth in urban cities. This is facts. I feel like I'm telling you all water's wet and the sky's blue. I don't know why this is controversial. It's just fact. That is a drastic problem. That is where the overwhelming majority of murders are happening, is in black majority Democrat cities. Go pull up the top 10 deadliest cities in America. Find me a Republican mayor. Find me a majority white city. Please. I'm here for it. Prove me wrong. So until we start addressing, they love, Democrats, y'all love your root causes. Oh, y'all love root causes. Till we address the real root cause of gun problems and gun violence in this country, you can ban all the AR-15s you want. You can round every AR-15 in the world up, burn it, melt it down, throw it in the ocean. And you'll still have just as much gun violence in majority black Democrat-led cities until you address your root causes of problems in your community. You could disarm every legal gun-owning white conservative in this country, and the murder rate would not go down a nickel. That's just facts, Jack. Like it, love it, or leave it. That's why I call it reality radio. Real talk, hashtag. Let's read some of your texts. Oh, yeah, we just got some breaking news here. When news breaks, we break with it. This is from WLBT. Multiple crashes on US 84 cause mass casualty event. Blocks all traffic down in Jones County. Something you never want to hear is mass casualty event. Jones County, Mississippi, said multiple people have been injured following a massive multi-vehicle crash in Jones County. Crash happened around 6:30 a.m. on today along US 84 West near Ben Pitts Road. Jones County Sheriff's Department reported the incident as a mass casualty event with multiple people injured and entrapped. All lanes of traffic are currently blocked as emergency personnel work to assess the scene and render aid. The Sheriff's Department requested drivers find an alternative route and use caution while driving through the fog. Man, that's terrible. That's terrible. Prayers, thoughts and prayers to all the people involved there. Sad, sad situation. All right, let's read some of your text messages now. I appreciate you guys chiming in on the Guns and Gear text line. Reagankin says, "You're so right." Thank you. Years ago, a man like Biden who got in the shower with his teen daughter would never have come close to the White House. Rittenhouse should have sued the estates of his attackers. He's suing everybody. This is my favorite nemesis here. It says, "Clay, why are you harping on the guy's past again? If Clay Edwards were to ever go off the rails, would you want them to drag your drug abuse back up? If pedophiles was in bro, there's a big difference in pedophilia and doing some drugs. Huge difference. I own my past. It's part of my story. I'm not even ashamed of it. I'm glad I did it. Had a lot of good times at the time. And towards the end, the wheels came off the tracks, but I wouldn't be here today. I mean, you're never going to shame me. Hey, I can do bad all by myself. I don't need your help. You ain't never going to shame me. That's why I talk about it. That's why I put all my past, all my flaws, all my faults on center stage and talk about it all the time. I'm never going to give the enemy any weapon against me. I'm taking it off the table. I don't like Eminem, but that movie 8 Mile, there's that part in there at the end where he's doing that battle rapping, and he says, "Yeah, I'm trailer trash. Yeah, my mom, a single mom. Yeah, this." He took all the venom out of the other guy's bite before he could ever even say it, and that just stuck with me. So I said, when I do this, when I get started with this, if this ever blows up or just as I go, once I realized I was starting to develop a little following and kind of wanted to do this, I said, man, I'm just going to be as 100% honest with everybody as I can. So there's nothing anybody's ever going to be able to say about me that I ain't already said about myself. Now, I ain't saying I ain't said too much. Sometimes I should just keep my mouth shut, but to my point, I'm going to be the one to say it. Wild Bill on the Guns and Gear text line. Anyone that starts off with, I know you can't read this on air, I probably don't need to read on air, do I? So we'll skip that one. At least thank you for putting that first. Same texture that said about my past is not trying to shame you. It's just to say that your past is not your present. Here's the deal. If you're a pedophile, you got a redeemed pedophile, you probably need to have some self-awareness and not be chasing a young kid down the street with a gun. Which, I mean, we don't talk about the part that he was a felon with a firearm too, the pedophile. Yeah, he was not redeemed. That his past was his present. Ty says Rittenhouse sued and will probably never have to work again. Sure, they tried to spin it on him, but he came out on top. Yeah, it's a damn shame what happened to Rittenhouse at such a young age. Now, look, I'll be the first to say, I mean, Rittenhouse did a little effing around and finding out too. I mean, he went into a war zone with a gun, granted for all the best of intentions, try to help save businesses. I'm not faulting him at all, but he went into a hot war zone, and war zone stuff happened, and he had to deal with the fallout from it. Was it fair? Absolutely not. But he does shoulder some of the responsibility for going and doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud that he went, but I don't think he should have at such a young age. Let's take a break real quick. Come back. We're going to continue this line of conversation this morning. I got a couple other things I want to talk about. Let's see here. Well, why give it all away? Tune back in and you'll see what we're going to talk about. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Hey guys, this segment brought to you by our friends over at Advanced Tree Care. Just lock the number in. You ain't got to remember the name. Lock the number in. 601-455-TREE. So easy to remember. 601-455-TREE. That's Advanced Tree Care. They've been in business for over 40 years right here in Central Mississippi. They're licensed, bonded, and fully insured. They offer proper pruning and trimming. They're open 24/7, 365 days a year. They offer tree removal, tree pruning, tree cabling, brush and debris haul off, stump grinding, lot clearing, and storm work cleanup. They're a certified, licensed tree surgeon, and they're going to go out on a limb for you. They attack the trees that other tree guys run from. Brother, 40 years in the same market doing business, you know it ain't easy. Give them a call today. That's Advanced Tree Care, 601-455-TREE. All right, man, I'm a little fired up this morning. A little fired up, man. We got right in my wheelhouse this morning. Now I want to circle back just a little bit here, and I want to talk about my black friends for a minute. God, I hate that term, my black friends, but I don't know any other way to say what I'm trying to say here. The black dudes in this community that stand up against this stuff and speak out against it, as frowned upon as it is, man, it takes a set. It just does. And that's why those guys, whether they agree with me or not, most of them tend to, real recognize real. But those guys, we need more of them. We need to let them know that we appreciate what they're doing. When you see a black dude standing up against this nonsense and speaking out against it, you need to support that guy. You need to let him know how much you appreciate him standing up when it ain't it's easy, sort of, for me to get up here and say these things and go back to Rankin County. I did it when I lived in Jackson too, so in all, to be fair, it was not as easy then. But it ain't easy for a dude living in Jackson, especially a black guy, speaking out against what's going on in the black community. And we got one on this radio station in Kim Wade. We got dozens of callers that call into these shows, that listen. I meet a bunch of good black folks out there, man, that are standing up against this stuff. And I wouldn't call these like Trump supporters. I'm removing the politics out of it for a minute. These are just good folks out there fighting the fight, acknowledging there's a problem. And that's where it's got to start, right? You got to acknowledge that you got a problem. Now, they love to tell me, the people who refuse to acknowledge there's a problem love to tell me, shut up, Clay. Positive solutions only. Positive solutions only, Clay. If you don't have a magic fix for it, you're not allowed to even mention that we have a problem. You can't acknowledge it unless you can fix it. Well, I can fix it. I got a solution. You just ain't going to like it. But I say it all the time. You can start the repair process by just stopping the bad behavior. I've always said, stop robbing, killing, stealing, drug dealing, and littering. How about stop pretending that those things are a problem and start facing them head on? There's a couple of guys out of Madison, Gluckstadt area that have been coming through, and I think there's two different groups doing it, coming through cleaning up the interstates. Because I think there's another group of like older guys that live over in the Eastover area, and they'll leave the garbage bags full of the stuff there at the exits, hoping the city will, remotely try to do their job and pick stuff up, or maybe it's the state that's responsible. Either way. And I like people to try to get me to have these guys on the show. And while I respect what they're doing, I don't think we need to be cleaning up other people's messes. And because that feeds right into the Democrat narrative. When people love to tell me, well, what are you doing to save Jack? It ain't my job to do it. Now, if I get paid and I work somewhere and somebody asks me to do something, yes, that's my job. Y'all have let these Democrat leaders in Jackson convince y'all that it's your job to go out and clean up the mess, that it's your job to replace the tattered flags, that it's your job to do everything but report crime to the police. They don't want you to do that. That's how they lie and say the crime numbers are down. They're just not answering 911. Crime ain't down. It's down in the Capital Improvement District somewhat, and that's it. And they can only do so much. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say that out loud. Until you admit there's a problem, you don't get to tell me that I don't need to talk about there being a problem. I'm not going to deny. When I had a drug problem, I had to admit that I had a problem. When I battled alcohol, I had to admit that I had a problem. You can't fix the problem until you know you have it. Whatever it may be, whether it's bad financial decisions, too many women, too much partying, too much whatever, until you can admit you got a problem, which the Jackson's got a lot of them, and cities like it. I'm not going to respect your opinion if your opinion is just stick your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. Anyway, shout out to those guys that are going through and cleaning up the city. Kudos to you. But, one of the reasons I ain't had them on the show, because I just think they're enabling Jacksonians. If you never make your kid clean up after themselves, if you never make your kid wash the dishes before they can leave, or whatever the analogy you want to use here, they're never going to do it. So continuing to clean up people's trash for them, they're just going to keep doing it. Oh, look, I littered yesterday, gone today. Good job. And they don't know you're out there doing that. They just think the city's doing it. So therefore, in their mind, oh man, Chocoway and them are doing a good job. All this littering that I'm doing is being cleaned up. I know. Rabbit hole. Let's read some text. Later today, I tell you what, I'm going to shift gears right now. Just make sure we don't have any texts. Y'all don't know how much I appreciate your text messages. So I do try to read them all as long as the context is there. Let's do that real quick. Let's see here. Wild Bill says, What sense does banning gun sales and gun shows in Jackson make at all? It's just another feel-good measure. How did a bill like this even get in a committee? This makes zero sense at all. Folks from Jackson can just go to any surrounding city and buy them and bring them out. Yeah, look, man, the last thing Jacksonians need is the ability to not buy guns. You got to fight fire with fire. Again, you're not going to keep the bad guys from buying guns. It's so ridiculous. Let's see here. Bobcat, the night he was killed, Rosenbaum tried to refill his bipolar medication, only to find the drugstore had closed early due to the protest. In a mind-bending twist of fate, or perhaps an all-too-common scenario, Rosenbaum was released from a local hospital earlier that day after his second attempt at suicide. Well, third time's a charm. Reagankin. It is a black father's job to guide his black son and black daughter to a moral, productive adulthood. That is missing and cannot be substituted. We have to face that. Not even strong black women can substitute that father. Well, and look, that's white or black. It is a father's job to father. And look, people think I'm attacking single mothers when I get on here and do this. I'm really not. I'm attacking your situation because at the end of the day, you made the decision to have a child with a guy, without proper vetting. I don't care if it's from a one-night stand or from a multi-year relationship. You made the decision, whether it was just in that moment or over a length of time, to let some ain't crap MFer put a child in you. Now, I get there's other situations where you're happily married, you're going for years, and somebody falls off the deep end. That happens. I get that too. But at the end of the day, I'm still not knocking the single mother for trying to do both jobs. And there's single fathers out there too. That gets left in the – that don't get talked about a whole lot, does it? The single father with full custody. I got a couple friends that they're going through that same thing. Anyway, the mother can only do what the mother can do. I was hearing somebody talk about it yesterday, and I haven't put my own hands on this particular set of data, but it shows that girls raised in a single mother household end up doing a lot better than men raised in a single mother household because they don't have the strong male influence, but the girls do have a strong female influence because they see the mother doing both jobs. And that is the strong influence on the female. It's pretty simple yet interesting, little bit of information there that I hadn't personally thought about. Let's take a break, come back, and we're going to get into the banning of satanic symbols and Satanism on state property in Mississippi. Jill Ford's put forth a new bill. I'm calling it the To Hell with the Devil bill, but it's got an abbreviation that spells out respect. We'll talk about it on the other side. We'll be right back.